they brought me what's called balut, which I don't know if you know what balut is, but it's essentially they take while a baby duck is forming in the egg, they then boil that, which is horrifying.
Holy
And then
fuck.
you eat a baby duck that's still growing inside the egg. And it's like the texture of plastic straws because all the bones and feathers are there. That's the first thing they gave me.
Did
After
you
they
eat
saw
it?
that, 100%. And then after they gave me
Fuck
that, I think they realized like this dude will try anything. I think they were like bringing me stuff that they don't even eat themselves.
Right. It's like,
I was
hey, maybe he'll take it.
yeah, he's doing it. This guy's doing it.
Welcome to the 188th episode of the Casa Ends Creation. I'm your host, Chris Deering. This is the show where I interview bands and public figures from the Mathcore adjacent community. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, do all things social. Every little bit helps. Feel free to join us every Sunday and Wednesday for the live cast. You can interact with the guests in real time or just hang out in the chat. You can also do that for free You can also subscribe to the Twitch channel for just $5 to get access to interviews before they hit YouTube and other streaming platforms, as well as get some exclusive emotes. You can also do it for free by attaching your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. It's like taking $5 from Jeff Bezos' pocket and putting it into mine. With that out of the way, let me introduce my guest today who dropped their new EP, Dopamine Dealer, earlier this month. Welcome in Brandon of American Standards. How's it going?
What is up? Hey, how's it going? That announcer voice up top, man. I don't know if that's a fancy mic that gets that sound or if you just turn it on like that, but out of nowhere.
It's definitely not a fancy mic, but it's just the talent. It's just the talent. Real quick before we get into
like that strip club announcer voice, you know? You're like, next up, Roxy on the stage. I'm gonna get those dollars out. Just born with it or something.
Real quick before we jump into it, just wanted to shout out Don't Stress Flower Press. Thanks for gifting the sub, man. You're awesome. So Brandon, why don't you tell us what you do in American Standards?
Yeah, I've been in American Standards for 12 years now, I guess, and do vocals for the band. Yeah, right. Funny when I first got into it, I was like, all right, I think I'm done with this. And then I jump into something for 12 years. That's kind of how it works.
Well, how did it all come together?
Pretty much that, man. I was playing guitar for bands before American Standards for probably 10 years, but just jumping around every 3 or 4 years in a different band. But that was really the dream. So the dream was like, whatever it takes to be on the road nonstop, let's do that. We finally got to a point where we were out for long stretches of time, sometimes months at a time. The guys started wanting to get back home. You know, they wanted to see their friends, see their families. And at that point in my life, I'm still young and stupid. And I'm thinking, man, we worked so hard to get to this point. We're finally, at least breaking even. We're not just like, sleeping in vans all the time eating ramen. And now you guys want to go back home for a while. So I figured,
right, it's kind of like you paid the dues already, and now like
I put in these 10 years to get there, and
right,
and then they want to go back home for a few months and then kind of lose that steam. So I'm thinking I'm going to get an adult job and probably not turn my back on music, but just not do it as the primary focus. So started just kind of doing music by myself, playing drums, playing guitars, recording by myself, and some guys came across it. Those guys asked me if I wanted to sing for a band, which became this band called The Hostage Situation, which was around for a few years. That was my first time singing for a band. That band, like every other band before it, broke up. And long short, Cody, our guitarist, our founding guitarist for American Standards, hit me up on probably MySpace or Craigslist or wherever else at the time and said, I wanted to do just a punk band. Let's just be a band that could, play punk shows in garages and in living rooms. We don't need to record. We don't need to play shows. Let's just do it for fun again. I said, that's exactly what I want to do. I want to get out of metalcore and just do a fucking shitty punk band. And I went to try out with the guys, and it was another metalcore band. And 12 years later, here I am.
Oh, hell yeah. So you were in a successful band before American Standards.
Successful is completely debatable. I was just in a band that was playing a lot of shows at a time where it was really easy to do it. So when you could crawl through people's top eights, it was called Veriland. Well, it ended as Veriland. We did that for about 3 years. Yeah. Started as a band called Movie Script Ending. We were very much like trying to be at first like an Alexis on Fire, Me Without You style band. So a lot of clean mixed with a heavy distorted stuff, a lot of spoken word type vocals. And it was just like right at that like Ernie Ball Battle of the Bands boom, where you can still get on the Warped Tour and do the Warped Tour without having to do those silly like vote for me type contests.
Okay.
So we landed a couple of the early Warped Tours in like 05, 06. And then after that, we started getting sponsorships by like Monster Energy was one of the first ones.
What the fuck?
And this one called Chronic, which is another energy drink, and a bunch of things like that which would just put on our shows. So we'd go on these tours sponsored by Monster Energy or Chronic back in like 2006, 2007.
That's crazy.
And,
what the fuck?
it was, yeah, now they wouldn't touch a band like us. Like American Standards has been doing it for much longer, playing more notable shows. They would not give a shit about us.
Right.
But back then, like, they were just clamoring for whatever the next big thing was. We absolutely were not the next big thing, but like it was easy to trick people on MySpace that you were, you know, because
right.
that was when you could just like fucking go around to everybody's pages and just comment on everybody's pages and just like, you know, add a million friends and make your fan base that way. So it was such a different time. And if you wanted to play a show, you just went to a band in that state, looked through all their top 8, found out where the venues, who their local bands were, and it was really easy. Like it's a completely different game now. So that's how it made it so easy to be out on the road nonstop and to do it in a way that like we weren't like making big money, but we were making enough to where could be on the road and not be starving ourselves, you know?
Right. That's sick. Did y'all have one of those like friend bots that would just like throughout the day automatically like send friend requests and shit?
So the funny thing is, I don't think I actually even had a computer until I was out of high school. Like I grew up super poor. Like
okay,
whatever you're imagining in your head, probably worse than that. And so I didn't have my own computer until probably like when I was like 20 or something like that. So I was literally just going to like the library and like going on MySpace at the library.
Wow, okay.
You'd go to like a Circuit City or a Best Buy and there'd be a computer on lockdown. I'd be like, bam, let's go on here and like plug the band. You know? So no, we did not have the friend bot just because I did not have my own computer.
That's crazy. So how long did you spend at like Best Buys and like, you know, libraries and shit? Like
hours, dude, man. I would go to the library at like 8 a.m. and stay there till like, you know, till whatever time the library is closing, just like plugging it away. And then the library put in like this policy where you could only use a computer for a certain amount at a time. So you'd have to like sign up. I'd be signing up under like pseudonames and stuff like that just to plug our band on MySpace.
That's sick. I appreciate the grind. Like that's awesome though.
Yeah, if anything, I have zero talent, but I've got 100% grind.
So y'all started in 2012, dropped an EP, actually dropped like 3 EPs in a row there for like consecutive years. Then there was a break between 2014 and 2017 between Hungry Hands and Anti Melody, your debut. Why was there like a 3-year break?
Probably because just the members, man. So like I said, when we started this, it was just supposed to be a shitty punk band. Like let's play in living rooms. And it's funny, everybody says this, but like when you stop trying, that's when like stuff actually comes to you.
Right.
And it sucks because that's when we weren't ready for it. And when we not only weren't ready for it, but didn't really want it. So we did record a couple things, like just living room, like a couple mics in a living room. And we did like 3 or 4 songs, burned like 500 CDRs. We did like handwritten lyrics for 500 CDRs, Jesus man. Like we bit this off where we're like, oh, it's gonna be so cool if we actually write the lyrics to every one of these. That's and like insane. Fold them up, make our own envelopes. We Corey is like a mastermind when it comes to like art and stuff. So he made these cool stencils and we spray painted everything. Like so everyone was a unique spray painted stencil. And,
so you're not like handwriting all the lyrics on for every booklet.
We not only handwrote all the lyrics on every booklet, but we spray painted like a cover of it. We folded it ourselves individually. Like
that's crazy.
Yeah, so we did. And we spent like probably 2 weeks doing that just with these CDRs that had like 4 shitty like living room songs on them, you know. That's and then we just started going to like every show and just passing these CDs out. And
just gave them out for free. Oh my god! Yeah, all that work put into it, you just gave it for free. That's crazy.
And then at the house shows, giving them out at the house shows. I think there's still some videos online of just like with these tables full of CDs that we were painting and like writing and all that stuff. So we did that for the first like year, and it was just fun. It was exactly what we wanted it to be, save for it wasn't a punk band at all. It was just a metalcore band, you know. But I absolutely loved it because I always wanted to be like Refused. Like when I say like punk, like I love like bands like Nerve Agents and Refused and Snapcase and stuff, which, you know, debatably hardcore, but definitely less metalcore influenced. Mm-hmm. But like I wanted to be that because I had done metalcore bands for like 10 years, and it was just like I want to be like more of that like Refused style hardcore punk.
Well, to be fair, y'all do have a lot of punk like interjected into this, so I wouldn't necessarily call you a straight metalcore band or whatever.
I do appreciate that. And every time anybody says something like that, I'm like, I'm glad that still shines through a little bit, because that's me pushing every ounce of like punk I can get into it, you know? But yeah, so we put out these CDs, and then that's when we started getting people actually interested in it. So we started getting like bigger show offers than we had ever got with any other band we had done. And then that's when We Are Trumpet came along with Victory Records distribution. And it was like we were starting to get these things that we weren't going for at all, which is probably why, like, at that point, some of the guys started dipping out, because that's not what they signed up for. But me, in my mind, being like I said, like the guy that's willing to grind nonstop, I'm like, no, like I see the ounce of hope here. Let's double down. So we just start pushing harder, touring more, and doing more and more. And that's when Cody, our initial guitarist, dipped out. And we did Death of Rhythm and Blues. It's our second, I guess, EP. And then after that, we lost Brendan on guitar and Jeff on drums. So now it's just Corey and I as the only original members. And we're thinking we could easily just call it quits right here. But like, we see something special that we didn't expect, you know, something that came out of this that we up front didn't expect and weren't really even had our eyes on at all. And that's really at that point where we're like, okay, let's keep this going. But Corey's going to move over to guitar. Let's get in our bass. Let's get another drummer, and let's start writing again. And then that's when we put out Hungry Hands. And then once again, lost another drummer. So it became this constant process. And that gap, what I'm getting to here is that gap was this constant process of always retraining people on everything we had done before, and then writing new stuff. And by the time we can get them to the point of learning that new stuff, finding out that they couldn't tour as much as they said they could, or that they wanted to, or maybe they had never done a tour like that before. So when they go out there and they realize it's not for them. Right. So it was just this constant cycling door of Corey and I trying to find the right people to make this something that we saw in our heads that it could be after that first year and a half or 2 years.
This sucks. You said something that I just barely caught. Like, I thought I caught it. At least you said Still Life was distributed by Victory.
Yeah, so Still Life was distributed by Victory Records.
That's crazy.
Which was it? Yeah, it's wild, but it also, like,
I mean, it's a shitty label, like, in terms of how much they give like their artists, but like that's like a big distribution network, isn't it?
It is, yeah. No, I mean, it had us in like Walmarts and Kmart's and shit.
That's
like, I didn't even know Kmart's was still around. And so it had us like in like these big old like fucking department stores that we don't belong in at all, you know? But and I'd always laugh, and I still see it in my Facebook memory sometimes. Like, they have like blue light specials at Kmart, which apparently there's still Kmart around. But like, during that time, we would see they'd do like these Black Friday deals, and our CD would be on their Black Friday deals. Stuff like, what the hell is this? This makes zero sense, man. That's crazy. But why I say it means nothing, because like, yes, at one point Victory Records had some huge bands on there, but at the point we came on, it was even past a lot of the scandals. It was at a point where they were just dealing in like quantity. So like, if I could sign a band like every week or every other week, then I can have dozens, if not hundreds of bands, and hope that one of them makes it. And whatever one starts to get some steam, we'll put our focus into them, you know? So for us, we were just this one little band that was never going to make it on a label of a roster that was growing every single week. So like, they put zero artist development into us. They didn't help us with our tours. They were asking us, because I was booking all our tours still, if we could help put other bands on our tours that were on the roster, because they didn't have the time to spend on them either, let alone the time on us. So we were still doing like 99% of everything ourselves. The only thing that I would say would help us on early on was kind of like this little glimmer of name recognition. So like, if you were going to go play somewhere that you'd never been before, even though you were the one booking the show, to be able to say that you're affiliated with something bigger like that, right? That would help us, you know, or to get in like a newspaper or magazine, that would give them a little spark of like, this isn't just like some, you know, band fresh out of high school, or, you know, these guys, I guess at the time, these guys in their 20s, this is actually a band that's like doing something bigger. But that something bigger was all because of us behind the scenes was pushing it. So it almost became, I got some disdain in my head for it, like thinking, shit, like they're getting all the credit, like they're doing anything, but we're back here paying for our own recordings. We're the ones that are designing our own merch. And yes, they're selling the merch on their merch store, and, you know, they're helping us push, I guess, to some extent on social media. But at a time that labels didn't mean as much, you know, because it wasn't like, this is 2012. It's not like back when you knew every band on Fair or Trustkill was going to be huge, or, you know, Metal Blade. You'd get a compilation from Metal Blade and say, you know, there's going to be 5 or 6 bands on here I love. like now at that point, people still, I don't think they were looking at labels as much. And definitely today, like I couldn't even tell you who half the band's labels are anymore.
Right, right. Interesting. So you never saw like any like money from them or anything like that?
We did. We saw
Oh,
some money from them in
like a couple $100
2016.
or
Yes, 2016 was the first time we got any money from them, and only because they still owned Still Life. So they still own Still Life, and we hadn't once saw any like sales reports, streaming, like outside of what you can see on your own streaming, like how many plays and shit you have. We never really saw any holistic view of how well that album had done. So I sent an email out, and I was like, "Listen, it's been 5-6 years or whatever it was. We haven't seen anything on this. Can you at least tell us how it's performing? And can you tell us like, can we buy this album back? We haven't seen $1 from this." And then that's surprising. I wasn't thinking we're going to get anything back from it. The next thing we got was an email with a check, and it wasn't a ton, but it was a couple $1,000s. I was like,
Hey.
okay, that's cool. That pays for the recording back in the days. The couple music videos that we did for it, like. Yes, it's years later. I wasn't even trying to get that. I was just trying to see if we can like get any visibility into how that even did back then, because for us, we just sent the music out and let them take it. We didn't really, know outside of that, like how it was actually performing.
Well, if you got it a couple years, like 5 years later, then it's just in time for Anti Melody, right? So how did the how did the full length come together?
So the full length, I mean, obviously it's weird because I think when we started as a band, we always said like we're not a political band, which people see like American Standards. They always thought this was like some either a political riff or it's like some shitty toilet joke.
I thought you were a political band at first. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think we are probably are a political band, man, because we do have a lot of political lyrics and more like social political lyrics.
Yeah.
But especially during that time, 2017 being like the election year, that's like that crescendo of shitty politics that started coming in and how everybody was becoming so polarized. So I shifted from this mindset of like we're not a political band to like I've got to get my thoughts out on this album. And I went into Anti Melody thinking this is going to be the most political album that we've ever released. So we started writing those songs. We lined up to record at King Size Sound Labs in LA, which is where like Mars Volta and Bad Religion, more importantly, Andrew WK recorded at. Let Live did their last album there. So we're going to this fantastic studio. I've got this concept album idea in my head. And then when we started recording, right at the beginning of that, we found out that Cody, our initial guitarist, had taken his life.
Damn.
And so with that was a huge hit on Corey and I particularly, but Cody was also our current bass player, Steven, his roommate. So we were all, very close to him still, even though he wasn't in the band. So that was a big hit on it, or a big like awakening moment. And then just a few months after that, my dad gives me a call and he says, "Hey, Brandon, need you to stop by the hospital, or first stop by my house. Give me a pair of pants, come by the hospital." I'm like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Don't worry about it. I'm fine." I get there and he doesn't tell me anything about like what's going on, why he's in there, or anything. He just wanted a pair of pants because my dad's this old fashioned dude that like he's wearing a hospital gown. He's like, no way in hell I'm going to be wearing this hospital gown, give me my Levi jeans, So he just tells me he wants a pair of jeans at the hospital because he doesn't want to discount gown at the hospital. And then I talk to the doctors and they tell me he has stage 4 cancer and he only has a couple months to live.
Oh my God. And, dude, what the fuck?
And the wild thing, I'm making this like a bummer stream. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Quick, but the wild thing is, so they say he has a couple months to live. This is a Friday. He just got off work and checked himself into the hospital. Monday, he goes back to work and he dies like a week later.
Holy shit, dude. Oh my God.
He's a construction worker. So he's 63 years old. He's still on roofs, like swinging a hammer in Arizona when it's 120 degrees. Dude knows he's going to die in potentially a couple months. He goes right back to work on Monday, like nothing.
That's crazy.
Stubborn, hard-headed dude. So I say this to say, like, we're recording this album at this point, and I'm thinking like this is gonna be a really political album. Then I realized like there's a lot more we got to talk about. So like we went back and we started rewriting a lot of this. We already had this time and money wrapped into this, but like I don't know like how you recorded in the past, but we were fairly old school. Like we don't record ourselves. We always get in a room, we write in the room. like everything starts in the room with us riffing. We go to a studio. We typically are paying per day in the studio, and we're not rich guys by any means. So it's like we've got a finite amount of time to get our thing done in there. And we had already kind of scrapped half of the idea of what we were going to do for this album because we wanted to incorporate what was happening with my dad and with Cody. So then that became kind of Anti-Melody became this almost 2-part album. The first half of it being a very political piece, and then the second half being still about that divide, but like more personal divide, and kind of separation, of losing my father and losing Cody, which I think lyrically, some of the most personal lyrics I've ever written are on Anti-Melody, but sonically, we've spent more money on that album, more time. We drove to and from California countless times to do it. Probably sounds like I hate to say it, but the worst sounding album that we put out sonically, because we only had so much money and we were already dumping so much money into it and so much time into it that we just couldn't keep doing that. But we'd already started it. So it was either scrap the whole thing or just push through it. And it kind of felt like the theme of the band was, hey, like always push through hard times. So we just had to push through it, and we did the best with what we could for that, And I think, if you listen to it, like I said, I think you can connect maybe to the message, but I do think like we've spent so much less time and so much less money on stuff that sounds way better than it. But I mean, I think it still has connected with people, which is kind of cool. And I always I've got this weird piece of like cringe in my head where I'm like, man, I wish it sounded better though. I wish it sounded like Weep or like Phantom Limb or like some of the stuff we've done more recently here. We just didn't have the money or the time to make it be that,
I feel like it sounds pretty good, honestly. Like I didn't
Thanks,
think
man.
it was
I appreciate that.
bad or whatever. And you're apologizing for like talking about this dark stuff, but like that's important with making like the album or whatever. It's what y'all were thinking at the time. So
it's very off brand for me. I'm not keeping an eye on if you got anybody to chat or anything, but it's like I'm always like online. It's funny because like I feel like there's this dichotomy. Like we're all very just fucking like not tough guy, not like don't take ourselves seriously at all. But then like our lyrics are always like super heavy stuff, So it's like very contrasted sometimes, especially when I start talking about it in podcasts, because people expect me like from social media, just a bunch of yucks and stuff like that, which I normally am. But lyrically and kind of what the band is actually about is very much different than kind of we try to take the heaviness off of it through our attitude about it all, or our perception on it all.
How would you say like your perception is on like life, like lyrically speaking or whatever? What would you say is like the through line, I guess?
Persistence is probably key. Persistence and grit. It doesn't matter what situation you find yourself in. You can always control how you react to the situation. And I think a lot of people don't see that. And the way that you react to it is also going to be the way that people then perceive and react to you. So that's huge for me. So no matter how hard times are, I never try to make it harder on somebody else. Not to say like I'm not going to show my emotions or anything like that, but I never try to like if I'm frustrated or pissed off, I'm observant of that fact, and I don't try to put that pain or that on somebody else. I try to deal with it in a more positive way. So that the band's kind of always that too, is like, how do we take something that's heavy or hard and put it in a more positive type of light?
Okay. So you guys did 3 singles after this, skipping to 2020, but every other year. I guess you didn't do anything last year, but yeah, so you did like 3.
The hell were we doing last year?
I wonder. Getting ready for the CP probably. So Dopamine Dealer. Where do these songs come from?
Yeah, so these were we had lost Mitch, who Mitch did Anti-Melody. He was our drummer at the time. Like any drummer, he's in 8, 9 bands, and some of those other bands started touring quite a bit as well. He got in a new relationship. He was having a kid. He just didn't have the time for the band, which completely understand. Also wanted to do a band that maybe had a little more potential to be more mainstream big than us, because we've never had delusions of grandeur. Like we know what I don't want to say what our ceiling is, but we know our potential. Like we're not going to be like the next, I'm trying to think of a big band that's like big in metal or something like that, but we're not going to be that band. Is what I'm saying. We're not going to be Spirit Box or something like that. Gotcha. That's just not us. So he wanted to be in a band that still had metal, but pop sensibilities and could be on the radio and things like that. which more power to him because he's a phenomenal drummer, maybe one of the best drummers we've ever had, most professional dudes. So he went off to pursue that. We started looking for new drummers. And then when the pandemic hit, we found a drummer that was solid. This Chris is playing for us now. And we started jamming with him. Obviously, we're not playing shows during the pandemic. So he started doing a couple live shows. Something that's always been big for us is, I told you, I think before the stream, is like not a dollar that we make ever like goes into our pockets. It always goes either right back into the band or into different charities. Probably the two biggest ones that we've donated to over the last several years have been the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and the Cancer Foundation. I'm trying to think, ASPC or ASAP. Forget the name of, but with two, basically cancer and suicide prevention are two big ones for us because of my father and Cody. So with that, we start doing these kind of charity live streams, and then as he's learning some of our back catalog, Corey comes and says, "Hey, I've got some guitar ideas. Let's start riffing through these." And at that time, we were on a label. We hadn't been on a label for quite a long time, and Manic Cat reaches out to us and says, "Listen, I know that you're not looking to tour nonstop. I also we understand you don't want to get into a 5-album deal or anything like that. So we'll let you do it on your terms. You hand us the music when you have it, whether it's a single, an EP, an album. You hand us the music and we'll distribute it." So it worked perfect for us. So we were like, "This is great. Let's write a few songs and let's see how it works with that. Not only the label, but works with this new drummer." And it felt good. We put out Pendulum Podium. That felt really good. And then we were like, all right, let's do a few other songs before we go into a full length. So this last one, Dopamine Dealer, is kind of the idea of let's pull together these 3 songs as more of a concept type album, and then start immediately writing for the full length. So months before we even came out with Dopamine Dealer, we were already ready to go with the full length that we're working on now.
Oh, nice. I was kind of worried that this was the full length and something happened and it fell apart. So I'm glad that there's
with our history. Yeah. Yeah. With our history, one would assume that, I kind of ironically made this joke years and years. It's we started with doing we did whatever 9 songs or 8 songs. And then we put out 7, then we put out 5, and then we put out 3, and then we put out a single. Pretty soon we're just gonna be putting out sound clips, But yeah, no, we do want to put out at least one more full length album with the band. And I think we're pretty close to it already.
So how would you describe your music? I guess just metalcore. You've been calling it metalcore this whole time, but I just want to get your I
don't know, man, dude. Yeah, that's it's a weird question because I feel like everything that when I was growing up, so I graduated high school in 2004. So when I was growing up, everything that wasn't new metal or just traditional Pantera, Metallica type metal, we were calling hardcore. Everything was hardcore. Zao was hardcore and Refused was hardcore and As I Lay Dying was hardcore. There was no metalcore. So I feel like it wasn't until maybe 2008-ish that I started having to redefine now, okay, maybe As I Lay Dying, yeah, very metalcore band. Killswitch Engage, very metalcore band, but used to call them hardcore bands. And then, a couple of years later, then, mathcore starts becoming a very popular phrase. And it's well, I always thought Converge was a hardcore band, but then they were a metalcore band and now they're a mathcore band. I don't know. Keeping up with the genres, I have no clue. As a joke a while back, and just probably 8-9 years ago, we started calling ourselves noise punk, which may be a real genre. I don't know. But we're just I don't know, we're noisy punk music. I know chaotic hardcore is something that gets thrown out there. I feel like we attach more to that than mathcore because we aren't a band that thinks about time signatures at all. If anything, the only person in the band probably thinks about time signatures, save for maybe our drummer, is probably me because vocally I have to jump on top of a 3/4 riff or something. But when Corey's writing that riff, he doesn't know he's writing in 3/4. He's just going from 3/4 to 4/4 to doing these different time signatures because it feels natural to him.
Right.
But then vocally, I'm trying to think of, okay, how do I bounce back and forth and make this actually sound I don't want to say catchy, but somewhat it has a hook to it, because we're all screaming, but I've always been someone that with bands like Refused or Grey Britain by Gallows is one of the pinnacle albums I think of in this style where it's that album's so damn catchy, but there's very little singing, if any singing on that whole album. It's there's some gang vocals and stuff, but it's all screaming, but it's the catchiest fucking album, dude. And that's what I always wanted to do is how can you write heavy music that's not formulaic, that's not verse, chorus, but it's still catchy. It has some type of hook in the way the vocals are delivered.
Right.
So with with like the way Corey writes, he writes in some different time signatures unintentionally, and then I'm kind of thrown on top of it. So I think occasionally like we get thrown into this mathcore thing, but we're definitely not like a mathcore band by my perception of it. Like if anything, we're probably like chaotic hardcore, noise punk, just some made up shit. I don't know. It's all metal. It's all punk.
I guess chaotic hardcore is probably the best description. I didn't think about that one honestly when I was like trying to figure it out myself. To me, I want to put you on.
Tell me what we are so I can start putting it down.
I want to put you on the same box as like Every Time I Die, but you're not like Every Time I Die also, because you have parts that are heavier than they are and parts that are like softer than they are also. And yeah, I really don't know where to put you. You also have solos in some of the songs and stuff, which isn't really present in a lot of like this kind of like hardcore and stuff. So I'm not sure. You also do some crazy like vocal shit too. Like there's parts on the EP and in like past stuff where you're like almost rapping. Or like the last song of The Tourist, you definitely do like some rapping type shit at the end.
So that's not me, but the funny thing about that, no, it's not. No. So I would love to say that's me. I am not a rapper. Although like I love the delivery of people like Jason Butler from Let Live, for example, or like Rage Against the Machine. Obviously, Jason's very heavily influenced by Rage Against the Machine. Like I grew up on Rage Against the Machine, so I do love that. Every Time I Die is huge for me. So I do like to have a little bit of that flow to it. But no, that part is I had wanted to do like a spoken word part on there. Like I said, A to B Life by Me Without You was so formative for me. So I always try to cram those types of parts in our songs, and songs like Harvester and Misery Relapse. I always have like these little spoken word type parts. And I was going to do that during that part. And I started thinking there's something that like I was always huge on since we started a band. And kind of a big reason why we started a band was like, there's always this idea that like, especially in Arizona, with bands like Job for a Cowboy coming out, you know, they came out in like 2003 and just turned Arizona on its head. Like out of nowhere, every band was doing blast beats and double bass and inhales. And like, it was very technical. And no bands were really doing cross genre shows anymore, or having like collaborations with like different types of artists. So I always wanted to be a band that could play like any show. Like we'd play a pop punk show, and we played mini pop punk shows. We played with Rings of Saturn and Winds of Plague, these like deathcore bands or death metal bands, very different than us. But like, I want to be that band that can play like any of those types of shows. And Me Without You was always that style band too. And so with this last, with Dopamine Dealer, I started thinking, wouldn't it be cool if like you didn't only get that experience at a show with us, but you also got that experience on the album. So the beginning of the Dealer, for example, has Chelsea from Fairy Bones singing on it, and they're like a all pop band, I guess you would say. And then that part that you're talking about is actually the God Samaritan, and he's a spoken word rap artist out of Arizona. And I just thought, like, instead of me doing this spoken word part, it'd be cool to have him come in here and do a spoken word part. And he has songs that are very like listener style, like spoken word. But he also has songs that are very like heavy rap songs too. So I'm thinking he's going to come in here and do the spoken word part, and I'm going to leave it to him because this dude can, you know, write some very insightful, very thought-provocative lyrics. And then he came in and did the more rap style on it. And I'm in the studio with him, and none of the other guys are there. And I'm thinking in my head, like, I love this, but if I send this to the guys, they might absolutely hate it. So, like, I remember sending it in the group chat and then seeing each one of them read it one by one and thinking, okay, all right, it's about 2 minutes in. They're about to hear the part. Let's see what they say. And one by one, all of them loved it. So I'm stoked, because it was something that I didn't know if they were going to take to it, because it's very different. Like, you don't hear typically a band like us have this, like, you do hear like heavy hardcore rap bands that like, or rap rock, where the fuck you call it, I don't know, new metal bands that have that, but not many bands that are just like primarily a hardcore band like us or a punk band like us that then comes in with this little like bridge that's a rapper, you know?
Right.
But they
I
liked
feel like
it,
you should add more to
it.
that, to your music. Like that should be more of like a part of y'all, I feel like.
I appreciate that, man, because I liked it, dude. And I do think with the new album, that's going to be a big part of it too, is getting features from people that you just wouldn't expect on our album. Because like we can definitely go out and like say, like, get these guys that we've played shows with and get some features from them, but that sound like us. But just, yeah, the idea of like, if you bring the right energy, it's still cool. You know, you could get someone like someone might go listen to the God Samaritan now and be like, yeah, dude, like, he's not a metal band. Normally I'm into metal, but like, this dude, any show I've seen him play, he's played just like us with pop punk bands and death metal bands. He wins over every fucking crowd, dude, because he has this high energy and he just gets out there in the crowd's face and people love it, man. So, I mean, he played our last album release show for Anti Melody. Just like Chelsea from Fairy Bones, we've had them on multiple shows too, because I know that if I put them on a show, people that listen to our style of music are going to dig it. And people that go watch them, hopefully they're going to feel the same. Like, it's not going to be 100% of the crowd, but 40% of the crowd that never seen us before and probably never would see us are going to watch it and be like, holy shit, this band's crazy. I've never seen something like this, you know?
Rejected Snail in the chat says, that's the best description, chaotic hardcore. Run with it, Brandon.
Take it, man.
So who do you take influence from for American Standards music overall?
I think I mean, you said Every Time I Die is huge for us. It's funny because when I first tried out with the guys, Cody and Brennan and Jeff, they were really into the Chariot. And this can be blasphemy probably for anybody who listens to this, because I know you got a lot of the Mathcore Index and everybody else, but I was never huge on the Chariot until like maybe like around I go back and like Wars and Rumors of Wars. It's a fucking phenomenal album. Long Live is like one of my favorite albums by him, and which is, I know, like everybody loves the early stuff, but like I was not big on the early stuff.
Can I do a confession real quick? I've only ever heard One Wing. Never heard the other stuff. I need to check it out, but you know,
One Wing is great too. So One Wing and Long Live are probably their two best albums, which is their two like albums later in their career.
Oh yeah. One Wing's the last one. I'm pretty sure it's fucking fire.
That's the thing, is like I like those better than I like the earlier stuff. But the guys were really into the Chariot coming into it. I grew up on stuff like Botch and Spitfire and Coalesce and stuff like that. Every Time I Die was huge for me. Like when I found out about Every Time I Die, it was absolutely a game changer. And then like playing guitar, I mean, stuff like Alexis on Fire was really big for me too, and Me Without You vocally. So all that stuff's kind of amalgamation, just growing up into that like early metalcore, early hardcore, like that late 90s, early 2000s stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, I wanted it to be more like not structured, but like a more of a punk band, which is like, dude, if I could rewrite Grey Britain by Gallows, I'd just do that. I love that album so much, man. No one ever talks about it. It's wild.
So talk about the lyrics real quick for the EP. First of all, I love how you open up with the K Sarah song or whatever, like the sample playing and stuff, and you're actually saying K Sarah in the song and stuff. So I guess it's about like you kind of like missed your shot in life, but you're just kind of like dealing with it. Is that the first song?
Yeah. So The Dealer, which actually at the beginning is not a sample. That's so we did a music box on it. So we wrote all the music part for that little intro there. Then we had Chelsea from Fairy Bones sing it.
Okay, I do, because I saw the clip, the actual like clip of her singing, and I was like, that doesn't quite sound right. Maybe they put some filter over it or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the funny thing with that is, she is an absolute professional, because she's like a classically trained like opera singer. She's like a theater kid, you know. So she comes in there and she's singing it straight, and I'm like, you know what? We're probably gonna, when we do the music box, and we're probably gonna add like this kind of vintage, like a record player type thing to it, make it kind of sound creepy. And then she goes into this like thing that I was calling creepy cells, where she's almost playing a character and she's singing it. So she did a couple takes of it, and then she just progressively got more into that character. And we did put some obviously effects and stuff like that on there. But yeah, no, that's all real tracked and everything, because although that would pay an homage to all those early hardcore bands that had sound clips all over their albums, for me, it was just like, I would love to just do our own spin on it, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the song is really like, I love the idea of taking a song, especially like a song that like everybody, like, I don't want to say everybody knows Que Sera, but it sounds familiar to, even if like you don't know where, it sounds familiar from somewhere, you know?
Right.
And then like doing a spin on it. And that song is a Doris Day song from, I think, 1950s or something like that. And then the whole idea is like, you know, whatever will be, just like let life happen, experience life, which I do agree with, like, to some extent, but I also wanted to put the spin on it as like, life can be what you want it to be if you have that determination and that grit. So the song was really about that, kind of challenging that idea of just like going with the flow. Obviously don't stress the things that you can't change, but for the things that you can change, like just fucking try your hardest to change them.
Hmm. So we got a question in the chat. It's okay. I'm not wondering if this is a bot now, but here, let me ask it anyway.
Let's answer these bot questions. I want them all.
Okay, maybe this isn't really a question we should be.
Okay.
Okay, well, maybe not. Okay. What makes you different from when you were a kid? Something unique about you that wasn't like that?
What makes me different? That's a good question, actually. Different from when I was a kid. I just feel like everything from when I was a kid is now almost just like amped up, you know, especially like I've always had this curiosity. I've always had this personality trait where I will try absolutely anything at least once, just to know that I don't like it. And even if I don't like it, I may try it again. Case in point, I've traveled to the Philippines lots of times for work.
Oh, wow.
And the first time I went out there, I told them that. I told them like, let's go. Let's get in all to any weird shit we could find. Let's get into it. And the first thing they did was they almost treated like Fear Factor. They brought me what's called balut, which I don't know if you know what balut is, but it's essentially they take while a baby duck is forming in the egg, they then boil that, which is horrifying.
Holy
and then you
fuck.
eat a baby duck that's still growing inside the egg. And it's like the texture of plastic straws because all the bones and feathers are there. That's the first thing they gave me.
Did
After
you
they
eat
saw
it?
that, 100%. And then after they gave me that, I think they realized like this dude will try anything. I think they were like bringing me stuff that they don't even eat themselves.
Right. It's like, hey,
like,
maybe he'll take it.
Yeah, he's doing it. This guy's doing it. Yeah, so they're bringing me all this weird stuff to eat. I remember I went out to this in Tagaytay in Philippines, this beautiful forest. And they got these little rinky-dink lines that go for like, I don't know, 10, 20 football fields long. And they got these like kids that are probably 8 years old wearing Crocs, and they're stringing you up to these lines to do like zip lining, but not traditional zip lining. Like this stuff looks like you're going to die zip lining. But I'll tell you what, it costs $4. I got to do it twice. And at the end, I got a mug with my picture on it. And I was thrilled about it, man. I was holding little baby alligators, like because people on the side of the roads, they like keep alligators for some reason. And it costs like 10 cents American money to like hold an alligator like a baby. And like they have a little strip of tape on their mouth. I'm like, you're for sure going to die doing this, but it's only 10 cents. So it's affordable. So long short is like that aspect of like just do weird shit is 100% me. But now it's on steroids because like there's so much stuff, like so much of the stuff that people talk about doing, like bungee jumping and skydiving. Like I did that so early on that now I'm just like trying to find like progressively weirder stuff.
Did they ever give you anything that you like actually enjoyed eating or whatever? Isn't durian from that area?
Yeah, and durian's like it's surprisingly not bad if you get past the smell, man. So durian, those things look like they're about the size of watermelon, but they have spikes on them about 3-4 inches tall. And it smells so bad, dude.
Right,
like you open up, if I were to like cut open a durian in this hotel, I would clear out the hotel. But it doesn't taste bad. Like it's got a fleshy like texture to it, but it doesn't taste bad. I tried a lot of good stuff out there, but I remember a lot more of the bad stuff, to be honest.
Well, the duck would like traumatize me, honestly. Like I don't even know.
I'll send you a picture, dude. I'll send you a picture. It's
like
fine, man.
You see like the feathers and shit, but you still just go for it. Like
you eat it whole. I think like that's the only way I could do. I wasn't going to chew through it like this. I put the whole thing in my mouth, man.
Oh, like how long does it take to even chew? You had to have been sitting there for like minutes.
Yeah, you're sitting in there. You're sitting there for a bit, and like I said, imagine like chewing plastic straws because the bones are all just like they're malleable. They're not crunching because they're not formed yet.
Jesus Christ.
It's not good. It's not good. I'm not saying it's good.
That is wild.
Don't know why it's a thing, but it's a thing.
He's like, it wasn't good, but I fucking ate it anyway. Like,
yeah. And honestly, I might do it again. Like, so there's only one thing I could think of that until like the last few years, I started trying food wise again, because I'm determined to like it. And it's not even a weird food. It's a food that like a lot of people actually like, which is wasabi, dude. So wasabi, right?
Yeah.
So wasabi's like, I mean, I love spicy food. You'd think I would love it. To me, it tastes like gasoline.
Oh yeah, no,
I hate the taste of wasabi.
Yeah,
anything with horseradish is trash to me. But like I had this bad experience when I was young because like I'm colorblind, full colorblind, so everything's black, white, shades of gray. When I
What?
was younger, I was probably yeah. So it's weird. I mean, colorblindness is very common. Like 1 in 5 dudes is colorblind, but most is red green. So you see colors, but you perceive them as other colors.
Well, we're gonna come back to colorblindness in a second, but what you were talking.
Okay, yeah. So I'm monochromatic colorblind. So like everything's a shade of gray. You can see the shades of gray, but not really the color. But so the reason why this matters is I was probably like 12, 13 years old. I'm at like a school like party, and for some reason, like I saw like they had some chips, and I load up this chip with guacamole because I love guacamole. Put that thing in my mouth. Immediately, that shit's not guacamole. That's just a chunk like that big of wasabi. And I'm in front of all my friends, and sweat's pouring down my face, man. Right. And like I'm looking around, and like I run, and I just immediately puke all over the place in front of like everybody. And like for that, like for the next 15 years, 20 years of my life, I'm like, fuck wasabi, dude. Like,
so you just like you just swallowed that shit immediately? You didn't like
immediately? Like I tasted it, but I was just like, that's kind of weird. And then just sweat, vomit. Embarrassing moment in my life. Changed my perspective on wasabi. But lately, I've been trying to like try different things with wasabi. I mean, I love sushi, so I've been trying that stuff, but it still tastes like gasoline to me.
Right. It's like it's spicy to be spicy, and like there's not really a flavor with it. I don't know. Like it's
to me, I get that, but like I get that, but to me, it's like it does have a flavor. The flavor's bad. Like,
yeah.
Because like I'll eat Thai spicy or like Indian, the spiciest Indian food they've got, like level 5, level 20. I don't care. Give me it. I love it. I don't mind sweating, you know. But wasabi is just that's trash, man. Give me the balut before you give me wasabi. Maybe I'll have to try balut with wasabi.
I was gonna say put wasabi on it. You might not taste the thing. So color blindness, there's got to be other moments that has fucked you over besides just the guacamole mistaking.
Yeah, but no, you're right. But more because in my head, I've allowed it to fuck me over. Which I'll tell you what I mean. Like I didn't cook for like until my 30s, because like all throughout my 20s, I would overcook everything for fear of undercooking it. Because especially like you're making steak or something, like it looks the same. And I know everybody's going to say, like, if anybody watches this, like, oh, you feel your palm, or you use like a thermometer, which yes, obviously if I have a thermometer around, I'm going to use a thermometer, but it's also just as easy not to decide to cook steak. So I would, or like, other people would cook for me and stuff. So I just didn't really cook a lot because of that. Now I absolutely love cooking. But so cooking was always a big thing. Like getting dressed, not a bad thing. Cause like, especially, like you wear black jeans, you put it on whatever shirt you want. It doesn't matter, but if I'm wearing like, if I have to do like some type of business presentation or some shit, like I've got to wear a tie, and then I got to match a tie with a shirt and a pair of slacks. And so that's the thing. And then probably the last thing is, so this is a nerdy thing, but Mathcore Index, our Mathcore fans, you guys like nerdy shit. You got charts and graphs. Horrible with it. If someone's showing me like a line chart and the line crosses another line, I don't know what the fuck's going on anymore because I can't see the color of the lines. So
crazy.
So if I'm on the computer myself, I'm like looking at it, I can figure it out. And there's one more thing, only because it came up today, and this is probably the most impactful thing, which I've never heard anybody talk about this colorblind. Getting an Uber or Lyft at an airport sucks ass because, really? I mean, I'm not the most like car savvy dude. Like I got the basics, but I think the way people typically identify their Uber showing up is because it's a yellow car or orange car or fucking red car or whatever, And when there's hundreds of cars showing up at an airport at one time, and you can't really look like, is that a Nissan Altima 2000? Like you just quickly look for the color. It's super frustrating.
That's crazy. I didn't even think about stuff like that. What about like video games and shit? You ever play video games?
Yeah, no, I do. I play a lot of video games, mainly old school games, but never really hard. Like, I mean, it's not like a color puzzle for the most part that I have to deal with. It's like if you ever seen like I Love Lucy or any of those old black and white TVs or TV shows, it's like that. Like you can kind of tell her hair is red, but you can't see the red. You just know in comparison to other shit, Right. So for me, I always have a barometer around me. Like if I'm outside, I know the sky's normally blue. And I know if it's darker than that, it's probably brown or like, red. If it's lighter than that, it's probably like yellow or orange. So like if I know the color of something around me definitively, I could probably tell pretty close to what the color is. I also know if it's food, it's probably not going to be a certain color, like there's just like, you can make a best guess is what I'm saying.
That's crazy, dude. Holy. Huh. Interesting. I've never met somebody that was like that colorblind before. Like usually
Yeah.
it's just like they mix up like certain colors or whatever. Like my mom kind of has issues with certain colors, but like just straight up like grayscale is fucking insane to me.
Yeah, my brother, he's red green colorblind. Like I said, it's like 1 in 5 dudes are red green colorblind. But so he sees the colors, but he gets blues and purples mixed up, and greens and browns, oranges and reds, like similar hues.
Mm.
That's why it's, I guess, funny for like social media stuff and everything. Like if you got me like color correcting or like doing filters and stuff like that, I'm taking a best guess stab in the dark at this stuff because I can't actually see what it looks like, you know.
The Russ Court in chat says wasabi in the tiniest doses is okay, but yeah, that's an ass root.
Yeah, no, it's why like I don't get it. Just horseradish is trash.
So it says music and lyrics is done by y'all, and then mixing at Sad Ghost Studios. So did y'all do the recording at Sad Ghost Studios too, or did you do like recording by yourselves?
For the EP we did, or for Dopamine Dealer, yeah, we did the recording at Sad Ghost.
Okay.
So that's this guy named Aaron Mitchell. He's in a band called Awful Mess, and it's kind of why I mean, like, so this is the cheapest thing we've ever recorded, like the most affordable. Cheap sounds bad connotation, but the most affordable time we've ever recorded. It's like right down the street from us. We're not on the clock. And it allowed us to, like, when we recorded it, we were able to go back and change stuff a lot. Like it wasn't like we were on some type of time frame. So yeah, it was just really easy, man. Really easy.
Nice. And then mastering at Nada Recording. And yeah.
So Nada is who's going to be mixing and mastering the new album. Like I said, he did all the He Is Legend stuff. Well, not all, but a lot of the He Is Legend stuff. He did the first couple of My Chemical Romance albums. He does a lot of really big stuff, way better than our stuff. But for this full length, we wanted to do the mixing and mastering on it.
Okay. And
his name's John Declaro. So
you just had like a nice, smooth recording process, like big hiccups.
Yeah, no, like I said, it was save for the fact that I guess we started writing during the pandemic. So it took a long time, you know. Typically 3 songs you'd get done quickly, but like when we're not really getting together too often to practice and to record and things like that. Also, the first time that we really ever recorded and released stuff that we hadn't played live a lot first. Everything we've done in the past is, like I said, we get in a room, we got some riffs. Normally it's Corey has like riff soup, like he's got 30 riffs, and I've got to, like, as a vocalist, be like, all right, this should repeat somewhere and this should be cut and transform into another riff here. And then having played guitar for way more and being arguably a much better guitarist than I've ever been as a vocalist, like I help a lot with the structures of the songs. But it typically starts like that. Then we go play them live for a few months. We see what works, we change stuff, and then we go record. This time we had these 3 songs that we really didn't get too much opportunity to play live, and we were already recording them.
Nice. We have the album art up on stream. Now I believe y'all like actually made the collage, right?
Dude, if you saw the way this collage is made, I don't know. I've got to send you like the progress steps of this.
I'm pretty sure I've seen it, but anyway.
So damn cool, man. So damn cool. So Corey does all our art from the beginning, our guitars from day one. He's painted everything from scratch, whether it be our t-shirts, our album art, any our tour flyers. That's all Corey. I mean, there might have been 1 or 2 things in the last 12 years he hasn't done. And this, he sends us a picture. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, man. Like, I liked it a lot, but like, I didn't like it as much as then he sent us the progress photos of like him making it. And I'm like, I assumed he did some digital stuff that like a lot of bands do, especially in like the old MySpace scene, like kind of, mixed,
like collage works and stuff.
Yeah. Blood Brothers type stuff, Fear Before type stuff. I assumed he did some of that type of collage work. And no, it's everything he did was he had first he started with like this chunk of, I think he said it was like drywall or something. And that's what he painted the base background on. Then he took a little canvas and he painted the eye on there. And then the hands, he did the hands, drew those up. And then he put the pins in the hands and then took the yarn and put the yarn between all the fingers. Then he cut out all the, the lettering and put those all on individually. And as soon as it was done, sent it to the label and they said, this is great. Can you do one of these for every song? So for every, track. I'm like, shit, like this is a one-time, like, a lot of work to do that. So what we decided to do, because we didn't want to have like every track have just completely different art. So he took a photo of each one in different lighting and different shading and everything to make it a little bit different, but essentially the same. The only place I'd say where we copped out a little bit, because I'll admit where we have faults, is he did do the lettering separately for each one, and we didn't really like the way it looked. It felt too busy. So then we ended up just putting the lettering on digitally. So in the bottom right corner where you have the song titles, those are obviously just digitally put on there. Because when we did it like the way he was doing it initially, it just felt way too busy to have all that individual lettering on there.
Right. That's sick. I like that. I like the cover a lot.
We often bite off way more than we should, man. Both in my personal life and in the band. Like I said at the beginning, like writing 500, lyric books. And then in this case, like making this very elaborate piece of art that at the end of the day, most people are going to assume is just a collage.
No, at first I thought it was just like a digital thing, and then
same.
The progress. No, it's fucking sick. I like it a lot. You also did one music video, right? Just one?
Yeah, just one. We wanted to do a couple, but it's just with the way the dealer came out and the timing that we had on it, it didn't feel like we were going to be able to get out what we wanted to for a second one. And I thought it'd be a lot more important to put the focus on getting it really done right for the full length for the songs that we're going to put out with that, or the videos that we're going to put out with that.
Okay. Well, we're playing your music video now, The Dealer. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. So I guess with The Dealer, the really concept that we're trying to put across here, I guess two things. One, a lot of bands, especially in our scene or in the chaotic hardcore or mathcore scene, you got like flashing, you got very dark visuals. Just like you got that, like the generic, like this may cause this epilepsy that every band in our scene puts on there. Right. And we didn't want that at all. Like no bash against bands that do that, but to me, I'm just like, okay, that's been done on it's like being in an Arizona band that plays in an empty warehouse or in front of like a desert, like we just didn't want that. So we wanted something to look big and open and white and bright, to really contrast from what a lot of other bands were doing. Not to say that, I mean, I forget who it is. Like, I think someone hit us right away with like, hey, like Since This Failed, it's a video that looks just like this or something, or I don't know, Hawthorne Heights or something. But I don't know. Anyway, so like we just wanted to do something that looked a little bit bigger, open, wider. And then we wanted the concept of this whole video to be this idea of something chasing you, something that you really don't see, but you progressively see more and more. And as you see it more and more, you realize it's always been there. So you want to go back and see where it was at, where you didn't see it in the first place. So the funny thing with this is the first, and we were very, very hands-on with this, which is why it kind of feels a little bit more like a DIY video, I feel like. But the very first rendering we had of it, you saw, in my opinion, way too much of that shadowy figure. And I was like, no, we need to have it way more subtle. And then we landed in a place where now I look back at it, I'm like, maybe it's too subtle because you can't even tell in a lot of the scenes that it's there, but it's really almost always there, whether it be like a shadow or a hand or just a shoulder. There's something in a lot of those scenes.
I didn't notice it until like the car, honestly, until the truck scene.
Yeah, and that's like that's kind of what I wanted. Was I wanted it to be this perfect balance of once you see it, then you can go back and be like, oh, it's been there. So that was kind of the concept of this thing following you, be it anxiety, grief, self-doubt, depression, just being behind you and really being behind all of us at some point or another in one form. So that was the concept of it. We also added a couple other cool things in there that I don't really think anybody will ever notice, but for me, that stuff feels cool. We used some of the actors that we've had in other videos. So we wanted to create this idea of, if you've seen some of the other videos, you might have seen this person in the background of that video, or you might have seen this in the background.
It's an American Standards universe.
Yeah, right. We're Marvel now, which we actually made. I'll have to post that sometimes. I forgot we didn't even post it, but we made a generic, like the Vulture coming up with all like the different scenes and stuff like that, like the Marvel thing. So fucking corny, dude. But yeah, we want to do that. And then the last thing I'll say, and we play it, is there's this really subtle thing in there too that we did that I think we probably could have been a little more blatant with, so it shine through more, which is scenes of the main character and then scenes of the band playing. Those start to meld together a little bit in very subtle ways, where you see things like the coffee cup, like the beer, the bottle of whiskey, his car keys, things like that start showing up in the background of where we're playing at, to kind of show that they're two different, they're both going into one. But it was done so subtly that I'm like, no one's ever even going to notice that's there, so it doesn't matter. So I think our pendulum swing to the opposite direction where it was too overt, and then it became so subtle that it's just like this guy that's walking around.
No, that's sick. We actually just went through the whole video, and now I'm trying to like rewind it to try to find little stuff on top of it. Oh, okay, yeah. There's a bunch of shit on top of like the amps and stuff. That's what you're talking. Yeah, I see the coffee cup and like the beer and stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah, that's just little things. I think we could have done, like I said, I think we could have done a lot more with it. But for me, like, I've got this shitty brain where I'm always like, when you're making a video, which is arguably the thing that I hate most about being in a band, is taking pictures or videos. Like, it feels so awkward. Like, you're in there, you're playing the song 50 times. Like, the guitars and stuff aren't really plugged in. So yeah, you're hitting the strings, but it feels like goobery to me. Like, I hate it, dude. I hate it. So like for me making the videos, it's like, it's either got to be so corny that it's self-aware of how corny it is, which I'm all about, or it has to be done so phenomenally that it's like, okay, like this is unarguably good, you know? And because of that, I almost make things way too subtle because I don't want them to be corny, or I want them to be too corny, you know? I think it's easier to be very, very like, I would love to be a band like Steak Sauce Mustache. Not to say they're corny, but you're just having
they're
a good
corny
time.
as fuck.
you throw out like I Love Brett and those guys, some of the best musicians out there, man. But yeah, you just throw out the weirdest ideas and it all works because that's what you're doing, you know? I would love to do that. But for us, like we're trying to walk this line up. We're not tough guys. We don't take ourselves seriously, but we also have like some heavy concepts and stuff. So it's like we can't be too goofy, but we also want to have a little bit of something in there, you know?
Right. No, I think y'all did a really good job with that. I'm excited to see
we're
more.
Too goddamn self-aware.
You said there's more videos coming?
Yeah, more video, not from Dopamine Dealer, but from the full length. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sick.
Yeah.
Okay, sick. So, any future plans, like touring plans, anything like that happening?
Yeah, so we've got a couple shows coming up here in town. We've become this weird like hardcore hotel band now that we just play hotels. I don't know how that happened.
What do you mean?
Yeah, dude, it's phenomenal, dude. It's the greatest thing ever. Like, we are going to end at a peak in our career because like every show we played since the pandemic has been the best shows we've ever played since 2012. And almost every show has been at a hotel. The first show we did back was that Blood reunion show, and it was at Club Congress in Tucson. So we just all of us were just chilling at a hotel with the Blood. And then we played this outdoor show where they had this beautiful stage and phenomenal sound. And there's, 1,200 people there to see mainly the Blood, obviously. But also Tucson's always been a big town for us too. And then after we play, we get to go chill back at the hotel bar and then just sleep at the hotel, and they give us a free hotel bar, the tab, and a free hotel room and everything. So that was kind of the start of it. Yeah, that was the start of it. And then we went to, we went to Bisbee, and once again, got a free room, got free drinks, got to play this, cool place. Went up to Flagstaff. We played Monte Vista, which is this also very nice hotel, like fancy hotel. All these people are coming like dressed up to the nines, and then we're fucking in the background screaming, and there's 300 kids there for a hardcore show. And then our hotel room at Monte Vista was literally upstairs, like right above the stage. So basically we got to just walk down the steps, play, walk back up, hang out in our hotel room.
That's sick.
Beautiful. And then I did the same, like I said, doing the same thing here coming up at it's called the Egyptian. It's a hotel in downtown Phoenix. It's a grand opening of the hotel. They have this outdoor stage that there's no reason that a hotel should have an outdoor stage that looks this nice. They've got a big old outdoor bar. We just get to play a hardcore show and bring a few hundred kids to rage in a parking lot, and then we just get to sleep at the hotel. It's great, man.
That's insane.
So
that sounds like the life, honestly. Shit.
It's so stupid, dude. I love it, dude. I love, like, my favorite shows have always been like at the weirdest places, so that's what we're doing next here in Arizona. That's on the 28th of March. And then we've got some touring planned. We got a couple of festivals that we want to announce hopefully soon. And we're really kind of like, we haven't publicized this yet, but like we kind of see, I won't say see the end in mind, but we never want American Standards to be a thing that just fizzles out. Like, it just feels like most bands, like most local bands, they play for a year, they put out an album, and then you don't even know if they're a band anymore, Like, we want to know that this thing expires at some point, and we want to make it special, and we want to make all the last shows count. So we're at a point where we're trying to visualize what that looks like next for us. We know that there's going to be another full length album. We know that we're going to still tour and play some shows. But we do want to make it a thing where at some point we say, okay, if you want to see us, this is the year to do it. And this is the album that we're going to put everything we have into.
Okay. So you're thinking like, how long do you feel like the band has? Like a couple of years, or what are you looking at?
I feel like we're on our last year, man. Like
because you got to do the new album first, though, right? And then you got to have vinyl and all that shit, I imagine. So it seems like at least a 2-year process, right?
Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. I think it's more close to a year for multiple reasons. I mean, I think I mentioned to you offline and everything that like we came into this band with like 3 very distinct goals, and we knew what the goals were, and we knew what we wanted to achieve. And I feel like we've done what we wanted to do. I don't think that we'll ever stop playing music. We'll never say like, hey, we're breaking up, we're never doing this again. But I do see it as like, we put out an album, and maybe after that, like we only put out a single every year or every couple of years. Maybe we only do an annual show every year. So the band I was in before this, the hostage situation, I do something very similar where once a year we do a big show. It's a charity show. We have basically the community vote on what local charity we want to put it towards. We typically have 4 or 5 bands that were big in like 2005 to 2010, and they all do reunions too. So it's a big event. People fly in, people have a good time with it. But we know people going to that show are all people that probably got babysitters, and they probably don't go to hardcore shows as often, you know? But it's a way to like reconnect with all the people that you used to love seeing 10, 15 years ago, and then do it for a good cause. Because like, why pay us a few $100? Like that doesn't really matter to us. We're not trying to tour nonstop. You don't need to do that, you know? So like, let's do this towards a good cause. And then it's interesting, like media gets behind that, you know, like local newspapers and radios that would never feature a band like us, like love to get behind stuff like that. So it becomes a big event. So that's kind of what I see next for us. And then the last point on that too is like, I don't think I've ever said this out loud. I don't even know if I've even told the guys this, but like, I personally kind of feel selfish about continuing if we were to continue doing the band. And I'll tell you what I mean with that is like we're at a point now that we've done it for a long time, and I don't think we're anybody special. Like I'm the most self-deprecating guy.
I mean, locally at least you guys seem to have like killed it. So yeah, I wouldn't say that.
I appreciate that, but
or whatever. But
we're huge to our moms. But but the thing is like, now that when national bands come through, like we get asked to play a lot of these national shows, or like we'll get asked to play a lot of festivals, and 9 times out of 10 I don't want to say we have to, but we do say no, for a couple of reasons. One, life gets busier when you're an adult, you know, lots of the guys are married, have kids, or are having kids. But also like what we can do with that show or with that tour or that festival is very different than what a young band can do with it. That's young, hungry, and going to take that to go grind like we were grinding when we first started, you know? So rather than us play with Norma Jean for the 2,000th time, like, why not give that to a band that's like, kids fresh out of high school that can play that show, and then maybe they build their fan base from that, and then they can go on tour, and they will tour 200 days a year, and they will grow that fan base. Like, American Standards is no longer looking to like grow our fan base and get bigger. Like, I'm very thankful when it happens, but it's not because we're trying to like be like, we want to be the next big band and we want to tour more and we want to do this and that. Like, I'd rather a band take that and run with it, you know? So I do feel selfish sometimes, like when we do take those types of shows, but we still play those shows occasionally. Because I do think there's bands that would take it and run with it, you know? And I know we're not going to. Like, it doesn't matter if we play the biggest show we've ever played at the Egyptian show next. If we play and there's 10,000 people there won't be. But if there's 10,000 people there and whatever huge label is there and they say, go tour for the next 3 years nonstop, we're going to say no immediately. There's not even going to be consideration of that, you know? But there's a young band that can play that show and potentially do that, you know? And I'd much rather have them do that.
That makes sense. But there's also value in you guys like helping out smaller touring bands or whatever, right? Like,
100%, yeah.
Crowds for that or whatever. But I see what you mean. I didn't understand at first what you meant until you like talked about like playing with like Norma Jean and stuff like that. Now I get what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, no, I agree. Like, I think that's in the cards for the last year for us too. Is like, I don't know if you watch professional wrestling or ever have watched professional wrestling. I used to be a big, it's fair. It's kind of dumb, but it's a bunch of big dudes in fucking underwears. But no, it's like I used to be really big into it. Like I've kind of dabbled my toe again over the last 5 years or so, just watching casually. But I say that like there's this thing I call putting people over. You know, like you got this young person that has a lot of talent and a lot of potential, and you put them in a match with you, and you make them look really good because you want them to like elevate their status. You know,
Right.
And we're not up here. We're not the ability to do that in any meteoric way at all. But in any small way that we can do that, I would love to say, like, even if I like, okay, you can play with American standards, you're going to be able to play for some people, not a huge crowd. We don't draw crazy or anything, but you can play for our fans, But if we can get asked to play a show and I can say, we can't play it, but this other band, Live Longer, Burn Everything, they're sick as fuck. Go check them out, or go check out Police State, or go check out whatever other young band that we really love. Commiserate's another one in Arizona that's really fucking cool. Bite the Hand is awesome. Like, we can't play it, but you should go check them out because they're awesome. If we have any pool to get that to happen, like, I'm stoked about that,
Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, we're talking about shows. What's the best show that you've played?
Best show I've ever played. I think there's like different dynamics of that. Like there's shows. I mean, like the first time we played with Every Time I Die was awesome. It was right after When Parts Unknown came out, right before the Salem EP came out. Those guys at that time, Jordan was just about to have his kid, but they're at the top of their game. They're just a phenomenal band. They've always been a phenomenal band, but so down to earth and so like just cool to us, man. Like we were like drinking with Keith beforehand, which sounds shitty to say in retrospect because he like had just got not sober at that point because he had bounced back and forth so many times. But we're drinking with Keith beforehand. We're watching professional wrestling with Andy in the hotel room. Like Jordan gave us the Salem EP before it even came out. Like they're just super cool. Like Andy and Keith both got T-shirts from us. Like just cool dudes, man. Like that's like the dream, because every time we played with a national band, that's like what you can picture in your head, but it never happens. Like it's always like you get to play with this awesome band, and what that typically means is you might get to walk up to them after they play and be like, that was a good set, and then they like say, yeah, you too, but they didn't even watch you play or anything. That's typically how it happens. But like Every Time I Die, like they've always been that band that is just like stoked about everything. So there's those types of shows that were cool, but also, like I said, the weirdest places we played have always been the best, man. Like going back to Steak Sauce Mustache, playing with them in Seattle at Southgate roller rink, the roller skating rink, like playing right in the middle of the roller skating rink for Top Knot Fest. And Czar's on there and all those other bands, and everybody's skating around us. And like people have got balloons on their back and they're playing Mario Kart trying to pop each other's balloons while just a bunch of metal bands are riffing. Like those are some of my most fond memories, are just playing weird shit like that, dude.
That's awesome. I didn't even know they did that. That's so sick.
Yeah, dude, Top Knot Fest, they do it every year. I want to say like Mathcore even got involved in some aspect. A lot of Mathcore Index bands are definitely on that.
The Rush Chord says, yo, I used to wrestle. My love for you has intensified. That's some wrestling fans in the chat.
Funny quick sidebar on that. When I was 16, my dad was like the most supportive dude, and I loved wrestling. So he signed me up for professional wrestling training school. And he said I was 18. It was
a school. What the fuck? That's crazy.
Oh yeah, you got to go to school to learn to bump, man. You can't just go out there and kill yourself.
No, it's true. It's true. Yeah.
They teach you how to do it the safe way. So like they said I was 18. I'm just scrawny little dude, and I'm 16 years old. And I went to wrestling training school, and I was doing matches in the rings at this place called the Coliseum here in Phoenix for like 3 years, up till I was like 19, which is like the nerdiest thing to say, that I was doing professional wrestling at the age 19. Didn't get a lot of girls. Let's say that.
It seems like a thing where you would get girls. I don't know. Like it seems like it's not nerdy at all. I don't know.
Maybe now it is, but yeah, not when you're a scrawny little dude like that.
I guess it's like kind of like theater kid stuff, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's 100% theater kid stuff. Yeah. But yeah, one other quick show on the best show. One other one this year, which was really cool and also very unexpected, is we did Oakley Dokley, that Ned Flanders, Simpsons band.
Right.
Super cool guys. Like the music is the music, but they're very talented. And they're doing a Guinness Book World Records to get the most Ned Flanders in one room. People dressed as Ned Flanders for the Guinness Book World Records. Yeah. So Guinness Book World Records come out. They've got, 800 people dressed like Ned Flanders in the room. And that show was so much fun, dude. Cause like people that were going to Oakley Dokley shows, kind of like Max Sabbath and stuff like that. It's like they're people just there for the gimmick. So you got people in their 60s and you got people that are 12 years old, and none of these people listen to metal for the most part. They're all there for the gimmick. So when you play in front of that type of crowd, like when you do a show like us, or like I've seen your show, like the live videos and stuff that Masscore posts of you, when you do that type of show, you like, they don't know what the hell's going on, man. It's great, you know, because like if we play with Norma Jean or Every Time I Die, if people know what this show is, they know what don't know what to expect, you know.
Right.
But when we were playing with bands like Oakley Dokley and stuff, people are just like, what the fuck is this, you know?
That's sick. What was the weirdest reaction you've gotten from somebody playing a show like Oakley Dokley? I'm sure you got a lot of people like leaving the room or whatever, but like I don't know.
No, not leaving a room, but I think it is weird to see like, so like a lot of like we bring very few slam dancers, you know, and I don't even know, maybe shows don't even have slam dancers like they used to. I felt like every show I went to in my teens, the biggest pit was a pit of people throwing their arms around.
Every show that I play, I always see people like doing the karate in the pit, so it's still a thing.
Really?
Yeah.
That's just never been our American Standards crowd. Like, I mean, there's some shows, and I would say like if we went to worse shows, some of our worst shows have been that, but those are never our shows. So like shows like an Oakley Dokley show, it's like just an old push pit, man. It's just like 100 people push pitting, or people like, you know, do circle pit, which I'm all for the circle pit, man. It's just like the biggest circle pit we've ever had is at like an Oakley Dokley show. Just people doing weird stuff because they're people that don't go to metal shows.
Right.
So what they're doing at a metal show is what they think is what is done at a metal show still, you know? So it's like kind of just weird stuff, man. It's great.
That's sick. That's awesome. Sounds like it's just like good vibes like the whole time.
Just fun, yeah. It's good vibes. Like no one's fighting or anything, man. Because like I said, our worst shows have always been the shows where the tough guys come in and there's fights. Because like if I see people doing dumb shit and like intentionally targeting each other, I'm fucking in the show, dude. I'm done with the set. Like you're done, man. I'll stop until you're done, you know? And we've done that before, which sounds shitty. And a lot of people, I don't care if they don't like us because of it, because it's just, if someone's not looking at you and you're running up and hitting them right in the back of the head, fuck you, dude. You're the bad guy.
No, yeah. I saw some fucked up shit kind of recently on my last run.
Yeah. So, and don't get me wrong. Like, if you're in there and you get hit, you assume that risk. Just don't target people that aren't in it, you know?
Right. No, I'm not a big fan of like crowd killing and shit like that. And like, I always saw a pit recently where they were definitely targeting each other, and it was pretty fucked up. But
yeah, we played this show in Flagstaff once, which Flagstaff of all places, where they're just straight up taking like metal trash cans, like it was WWE wrestling or something, and throwing them at the back of like girls' heads in the front row.
What the fuck?
Like we just stopped because like we literally just stopped and we're like, all right, get these guys out or we're done playing.
That's insane. What the fuck? Jesus Christ. Okay, well, I guess that leads right into it. What's the worst show that you played?
That Flagstaff show. No, there's one that was actually worse than that, and it was in Texas. And I'm trying to think what part of Texas it was. It definitely wasn't. I think it was Lubbock, Texas, because it wasn't like Austin or anything like that. But I think it was Lubbock, Texas. We're playing a warehouse, and very similarly, people were throwing chairs at people during sets. So first off, there's one funny thing about this that here nor there. Actually, this made it great, in my opinion, to watch. We watched a band that played before us that during the show, the guitarist, and it was a one guitar band, said, "This is my last show." His like second song. He's like, "This is my last show. Fuck this band." And he put his guitar down and he walked off the stage. And their set was done.
That's sick.
So, that was a memorable thing for me, but probably horrible for them. But then, a couple other bands played, very violent bands, which, like I said, like I have nothing against violent bands. I listened to like just ignorant stuff when I was younger too. That was just heavy for the sake of being heavy. But these were people that were like targeting each other in the pit. They're throwing chairs and stuff like that. There's probably like 3 or 4 fights. So while we were playing, a couple of fights broke out, and then we literally stopped and we said, "Okay, you guys gotta get these security, gotta get these guys out, or we're done." And it's a small venue, so it's like literally like security is just like dude's uncle or something like that at the door. So they pulled them out, and there was this period of probably like 30 minutes where it's just quiet, where they're trying to get all the shitty people out of this venue. So by the time that we started playing again, it's like half the crowd. But after that, it was great, so fun, great set, But that first, like, I think probably 3 or 4 songs, it just, when I see that, I'm like, man, this is everything I hate about this scene.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you handled it. You handled it well. It sounds like you handled it well.
I don't know. You get hate for doing that though, dude. And that's the thing that sucks is like sometimes people just want to be like shitty, and then they like when you call them on being shitty, they're like you're the one being shitty, which I'll take it. I don't care, but it's like I don't know. It makes it an awkward point, you know, like an awkward
I feel
moment.
like everybody else that wasn't engaged in that is glad that they're gone though. So
Yeah, hopefully,
you
because
seem
it looks
better
like people are
in
having
their
fun
eyes,
after
I
that.
think. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I remember the promoter actually told us before that, and nothing against the promoter. Like the dude actually told us, like, because I talked to him before we even played, I'm like, dude, this crowd is getting really ridiculous. And a lot of these, it's like a shitty punk venue. So everybody's drinking and stuff like that. So they're getting progressively shittier and shittier as they go. And the promoter's like, if you don't want to play, you don't have to play us. I'll give you your guarantee and everything like that. And we're like, no, we're going to play. We're just going to make sure the shitty people aren't here while we're doing it.
Right. No, that's sick. But yeah, you guys have bottle openers, koozies, shirts, patches.
We're
pins.
Kiss, man.
It's fucking
We're
sick.
the Kiss of hardcore.
I like it.
Now, I will say this though, like those bottle openers are the only band merch of my own I'll actually use or have. Because like I think like I'm never gonna be the guy that's wearing my own band t-shirt. But those bottle openers, I don't have my keys on me right now. I use that thing almost every day, man. It's awesome.
You don't wear your own band shirt?
Nah, man. It's just unless you're self-aware, like you're doing it because it's funny, you know. Like I can't get away with it. Some bands can. I can't. Like Steak Sauce, absolutely. I can see all those dudes like Joey Taylor, all them wearing their own Steak Sauce shirt on stage, and it'd be funny, and I would absolutely eat it up. But for us, I would not do that.
Well, I just be like around
shirts.
town or whatever, man. You gotta advertise the merch of the band, right?
No, so someone sent me a shirt once that had a picture of my face on it, and it said "sick invite" because I like kind of jokingly, whenever my friends or anything post anything, I always reply with "sick invite." So I got a T-shirt that had my face on it, and it says "sick invite." I'll wear that around all the time because I feel like that's obviously me just being a jackass, you know. Like, and then, but sometimes it's funny because like I'll forget that I'm doing that, and I'll just be like at a gas station or something like that. I'll just be like sitting there buying a candy bar, like with a T-shirt, with my face on it, look like a moron.
But yeah, that stuff's all at your Bandcamp. You don't have any like physical releases, right? Like CDs and shit like that. Nothing.
Yeah, we don't have any physical CDs or vinyl left anymore. There's like some floating on around like stuff like All Music and those sites that resell the stuff. But during the pandemic, like it was this weird part, which I think is, I mean, every single band can say the same story, I'm sure. Where like I don't know if we knew what was going to happen. Like I think we felt like we may come back and just play one more show and it's over. So there's no means in restocking, you know, a bunch of merch. So we took like orders on our Bandcamp and everything, and we fulfilled the orders, but we never like restocked anything. And then, like I said, we played that first show back, and it was the show with the Bled, which was a huge show. And we did buy, I mean, we bought like 2 new designs or something like that, but I was like kicking myself because we didn't go back and restock all the old stuff like the vinyl or like the pins and stickers and all other stuff, because we're just like, we don't know where this is going to go after this, you know?
Right.
So I'm sure we'll probably restock some of the vinyl. I want to press Still Life, the first album, on vinyl. I would love to do it, and we tried to do it for the 10-year. It just didn't work out. But I would love to do a re-release of that with 3 songs that we originally recorded, but we have since taken off streaming. So they've only been on that first like 500 CDs that we put out. And they're originally on Bandcamp, and they're also on like Reverb, but we took I don't even know if you can find those songs online anymore, to be honest. But I would love to press that vinyl with those 3 songs. And if not the original version of those 3 songs, like even maybe re-record those songs. And we've talked to Brendan and Jeff, our original guys, about re-recording them, and they're super open to it. It's just making timing wise work, and everybody's at different points in their life and stuff, you know?
Right. That sounds sick.
So we'd love to do that.
The rest chord says get cassettes, please.
Dude, so we had cassettes for Hungry Hands, these like slime green cassettes. I love those, man. The funny thing about cassettes, and maybe it's just because people don't give a shit about us, but cassettes get so many people to come look at your merch booth and pick up the cassette, and we're like, they got cassettes.
And nobody buys them. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had like 500 cassettes that we held on to for like 2 years.
Jesus
and
Christ.
Every single person that's like came to our merch booth would look at those cassettes, but never buy those cassettes, you know? we sold out of
500's a
vinyl.
lot. Holy shit.
We sold out of vinyl so quick, but those cassettes, man, like I thought we were just gonna like be passing those on to our kids or something.
Cell Damage has 8 tracks actually.
Yeah, I saw that, dude. Zayo's taken NES cartridges and putting their stuff on them, man. That's
What?
weird.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like,
you can do that?
They did that, and they did floppy disks. Yeah.
Huh. How do you, I guess it plays through the NES system or whatever? That's fucking
I have no
crazy.
clue. I don't know how
What
it
the
works,
fuck?
but they were pushing them a while back, which Zayo's like Zayo's a band, like they're one of the first bands I feel like I that's when I really knew what hardcore was. I found out about Zayo in like probably 2000, 2001 or something like that. And that's what I originally started calling hardcore. Even though hardcore had been around way far longer than that. But yeah, I love those guys. And they went on this huge break. And I remember when American Standards, started off for like the first 8 or 9 years, anytime anybody asked me like, what's one band you would love to play with? If it wasn't Refused, it was always Zayo. But I knew like Zayo makes zero sense for a band like us to play with. And then they did that, I won't say reunion, but they started being more active again like 4 years ago. And they asked us to do their shows, their West Coast shows when they came back. I was like, oh, we're playing with Zayo. This is so sick. So just being able to watch them play and see how much energy Russ has, man. Like that dude is insane. He's got more energy than like any person I've seen in our scene.
Yeah. Rejected Snail says that they want to do an NES cartridge really bad. Pretty sure it's Danny from Cell Damage.
That's the Cell Damage guys. I'm pretty sure it's Danny too. It might be Josh, but I think it's Danny. When I was streaming, he used to come on the streams all the time. Danny, Josh, which one?
He says it is, so it could be either one. I feel like it's Danny though. But
he wouldn't tell you either way. They always do that bit.
Danny,
dude,
Danny.
Okay. Somewhere online, Danny, dude, you got to find those podcasts we did on the tour we did. So we did this little tour with them and Stay Wild, which I love Stay Wild too. I miss those guys. But every show we played, we would get before the venue, we'd get together and just do a little podcast. And dude, like the Cell Damage dudes and also the Stay Wild dudes, like they just run bits all day. Like they're like fucking sketch improv comedy group or something like that. They're so funny. So somewhere online, SoundCloud or something, there's probably like half a dozen podcasts that we did back on those shows.
That's sick. Those guys are great. I love them so much.
Yeah, stoked for them. You guys have been doubling. Speaking to them because they're the only ones watching right now. You guys have been doubling down. Cell Damage has been like playing a bunch of shows and like they're so big they don't respond to our text messages anymore. We have to like talk through their interim guy. We're like, would you guys like to play a show? And they're like, yeah, talk to our people, and their people don't respond. So yeah.
This is thanks, Brandon. So album of the year. What's your album of the year for last year?
For last year, like it's weird because all through the pandemic, I started this thing where I wanted to go back and listen to an entire discography of either a band that I knew only one album from or a band that I knew only one song from. Like an example is like Jimmy Eat World, especially being from Phoenix. Like, yeah, I knew the one, like the Bleed American album. Like I knew that album. I had that album growing up. I had never listened to any of their other stuff for the most part. So I would go back and listen to it from the very beginning, the earliest thing I could find, like even if it's the shitty EPs and demos, all the way to the end. And I did that with so many bands and so many bands that like people like, they're like, wait, you've never heard anything from My Chemical Romance? No, I don't listen to My Chemical Romance.
What?
So
you haven't listened to them before? What the fuck?
Like I knew like the Black Parade and Helena, but I never listened to any of their other stuff. Okay. Spoiler alert, in my opinion, only got worse as it went on. The first album, like, this was pretty sick. And the second I was like, yeah, it's good. And then I was like, oh, come on, man. Just go back to the old stuff, even though like it was 20 years after it all had come out, So that's what I was doing during the pandemic, was going back through all these old bands that like most people assumed I probably had listened to. I just never did because once again, poor kids, I wasn't buying CDs. I didn't have the internet. So if I did have a CD, it was because like I scraped together like $25 and went to like the warehouse or something. And then that one CD, I would force myself to like it, whether it was good or not, because it's the only CD I had in my Walkman, So, there's just so many discographies I never listened to. Same thing with music videos. Like, dude, like every band, my favorite bands, like Poison the Well and Every Time I Die and Zayo and all these bands I grew up with and listened to for years. I had never seen any of their music videos because I didn't have the internet or like, a computer to watch the videos or like anything like that. So yeah, I was going back and listening to discographies. I was watching all these videos that came out 20 years ago that were like brand new to me,
Yeah.
But last year I didn't listen to that much at all. Like I feel like there was maybe a dozen albums I actually listened to, and the one that I got the most play out of was that new Comeback Kid, which is Heavy Steps. That single, particularly Heavy Steps from Comeback Kid, in my opinion, is one of their best songs of all time. If not, it might be better than Wake the Dead. It's so damn good. Like the mix on that album, so good. His voice is so like his singing, the way he sings is just so cool. Like if I had a voice like that, man, I'd be a star.
No, I don't think
Yeah,
I've
but
ever
it's good.
actually like listened to Comeback Kid. I guess I need to
It's
check it
good.
out.
It's just, it's punk. It's punk. It's hardcore. It's just like also very just like although they're a little more formulaic, just super catchy. It's heavy music, but it's super super catchy. And yeah, I love that album, man. It's so good.
Alrighty. Um.
Sunflower put out a cool album. That's good, worth mentioning. I'm sure you've listened to it.
Oh hell yeah.
Everybody talks about Jeff. I mean,
Absolutely. I've played shows with them. They're fucking great guys. I love that stuff. All these
that's
darlings and now me. Awesome album.
yeah, yeah. No, that's that scratches the Every Time I Die itch for sure. Kendrick Kendrick Lamar put out an album that was pretty all right.
It's
Toby
funny
Maguire.
because they actually hate being compared to Every Time I Die because they say that they get those comparisons just because they're from New York. So it's funny that you were
Oh,
saying
I didn't even know they're from New York.
Yeah, it's
I had no
funny
clue
that
they're
you were like, oh yeah, it scratches that Every Time I Die itch. It's funny.
Yeah. Well, one thing, okay, so I'll give them this, and this is something you said about us, but I think way more so for them is so. I don't want to say at their best, but the songs I really love from them sound like Every Time I Die, right?
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
they have a lot more dynamics than Every Time I Die, especially like with the softer experimental stuff that they do, and the tones that they get. Like they're doing stuff that Every Time I Die absolutely would not do too. So
Right,
I'll
they got a lot
absolutely
of
give them
like
that.
rock and roll injected in.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's like when especially when Jeff came and started doing vocals, it got more of that flow and that's not sass. I hate the word sass in hardcore. I fucking hate it, dude. Got more of that I don't know, that delivery. It's got more of that attitude, that vibe.
Right. No, I know exactly what you mean.
It's cockiness, I guess. Maybe I don't know.
And funkiness, okay, yeah, I like that.
No, not
too.
funkiness, like cocky. It has like this cocky, like arrogant delivery to it that
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Well, is there anything else you want to say before we head on to the outro?
Ah, man, dude, I appreciate you. This honestly, if I wasn't doing this, I'd just be probably sitting at the hotel bar. So this is awesome.
Oh hell yeah!
Thanks for having me, dude.
I appreciate you being here for as long as you have been too. We've been going for a minute here. So if you dig punky mathcore, you need to check out American Standards and their new EP, Dopamine Dealer, which dropped back on the 3rd. Y'all are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Bandcamp, all the cool places. Are there any social media stuff I'm missing? Any like links you want to send people to?
Man, yeah, no. Any streaming service, any website for the most part, / American Standards, we're going to be on it. The only difference is Twitter, American Standards is too long. You got to take out the consonants and standards. We're on all the rare, obscure, like social media. Like, I think pretty much everything except for that Truth Social, you'll find us. You won't find us on Truth Social. So apologies.
I hope I wouldn't. As for me, drop my channel, follow so you always know when I go live. You can also sub to get access to the interviews before they hit YouTube and streaming platforms, as well as get some exclusive. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. YouTube folks, if you enjoyed the video, please drop a like, tickle the notification bell. Don't forget to subscribe. It's a great way to support me for free. Check out my music, The Sound That Ends Creation, at thesoundthatenscreation.bandcamp.com. My next guest is Ghost House, who dropped a sick new EP, Grin, last Friday. Join us this Wednesday the 1st for the live cast. Thanks for being here, Brandon. Hope you had a good time.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. And thank you guys for watching and listening.
Life